Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S back in another video. Hope everyone's well wherever you are. Just say wherever you are today, wherever you are right now, or whatever. But yeah, sorry if it's a bit dark. It's only 2:15, and it's already quite dark for some reason. I do have a light on, but it's still sorry if it's a bit dark. It's probably a Halloween theme, I guess you could say. Sorry for those who don't like Halloween, but at least I save money on a mask. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, today I want to talk about my plans for Central Africa and African unity, Pan-Africanism and that kind of thing. Africa to unite together, Africans to unite together. They are #stronger together and all that good stuff. So as usual, it's part one. So these are pointers number 1 to 10. Can't think of much to say for the intro, but yeah, these are my plans for Africa and for African unity, the African Union, and how I think they should promote Pan-Africanism. All being well, I'll share the link for this in the African Union's YouTube channel because I don't have my Facebook back, so hopefully it's Facebook's loss. Anyway, but more I post to YouTube. Hopefully it'll be YouTube's game and Facebook's loss, preferably, because that would be fair. But anyway, let's get to it. So, number 1, I think Central Africa, because it's symbolically it's central. I know the name is Central as well, and it's central. I assume. I think it could be. I mean, Central African countries generally, but especially Central Africa, the country, which I think would be quite fitting, given that it's been quite divided. But symbolically, perhaps it could learn from Rwanda, and funny and sadly enough, and talk about uniting Africa together. So I think it'd be cool if Pan-Africanism was promoted in Central Africa, and they invited all the rest of Africa from Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, places like that in the north, to South Africa, Zimbabwe, and places like that in the south and the east and the west. And I'm terrible at geography. I think Nigeria is in West Africa. Could be wrong. I think that's correct. And Kenya and Ethiopia, I know, are in Eastern Africa. Terrible at geography, but that's about all I know. Only because I read about them recently. But I mean, even if I went to a place, I probably wouldn't know. East or west or whatever. But geography is not much. I don't have many strengths. I'm just an ideas person, and I'm mad and out of the box thinking person. But anyway, I love for Central Africa symbolically to be a unifying place for all of Africa to come together and for them to host other African countries, because symbolically it's at the centre. What do you think? I'd love to know. Especially those who promote African unity, Pan-Africanism, and that kind of thing. I want to see Africa be empowered. But moving on, number 2, I'd love to see Africans learning from each other. I was thinking recently, and I thought of it a few times. I suppose this is a memory, because I thought of this before. But I saw something on a channel called Africa's Talking, which I believe has a website, YouTube, and a Facebook, and that kind of thing. Probably an Instagram, all that kind of thing as well. But I think it's probably good to be on all those things nowadays. So if one channel deletes your content, you've got it somewhere, which I've been talking about recently. I'd love to learn how to build a TikTok and different things, maybe an Insta, and things like that, but mainly for video sharing platforms. But I also do love to type my ideas sometimes, but due to my punctuation, I also like to make videos as well for various reasons, including my punctuation. But I was thinking how they could learn from each other, because they were talking about, I didn't really listen to it fully, but I listened to about a minute or so, to be honest, but they were talking about teaching people about tech and all that kind of thing. But it would be great if, I know I've mentioned this before actually, if people who know about tech from Africa teach others, so they don't jealously guard their secrets and be jealous of each other, but rather they are happy for each other's successes and wish each other well. And I'd love for Africa to have things like their own version of like the Lakeside program, is where Bill Gates and Paul Allen and people like that learn. So they could found, maybe, I don't know if it's copyrighted, but like they could found something like, if not called the Lakeside School, they could found something similar, a similar name perhaps, or basically the name probably doesn't really matter, but it could be Africa's version of the Lakeside School, and mainly the Lakeside programmers, software developers, coders, and people like that. So learning about tech and that kind of thing, and teaching each other what they know. So again, not jealously guarding their secrets, but sharing with each other what they know, and being proud of each other, and saying, yeah, I want to teach, especially younger people. I want to encourage them. I'm into the soft love, not necessarily tough love like some people are. But I suppose that's my own personal opinion. Some people might think tough love is better, fair enough. But I think it'd be better to encourage people, younger people. I'm not a big fan of the saying like respect your elders. I can't stand that saying. In fact, if someone said that, I wouldn't wish them good health. I would wish them probably a little bit bad health if they said that. But anyway, that's a side note. But yeah, I'm more into helping the young. But yeah, passing on information and teaching each other, which I suppose goes with point number one. Being united, I think, means you want what's best for each other, and you try and teach each other what you know and things like that, rather than again jealously guarding secrets or whatever. But yesterday I made a video and it was 13 minutes long. I feel that's unlucky, and I'm feeling like I wanted to wait for another minute just to finish the video. I probably could have waffled a little bit more, knowing me, for another minute, but people will probably get bored if they haven't already done so. So I decided not to. But yeah, I was thinking. I just realised that it will be point number 3 on 6 minutes. I didn't really want that. Damn it. But yeah, I think learning from each other would be really important. I think that covers all the bases. Like, I love to see Africans to unite, Africa to unite. Hashtag stronger together. I love to use those type of words. So Africans, as in the people from Africa, to unite, and Africa, as in the continent, to unite. And again, I think central. I think the African Union should encourage that. I'd love to see loads of buildings in Central Africa that promote that. Number 3. So, as I say, for the African Union, I would love for them to have many bases and centres, hubs, and things like that, like tech hubs, business hubs, political hubs, unifying hubs, pan-Asian hubs, and all sorts of things like that in Central Africa and across and around Central Africa, and also to promote libertarianism. I think that for point number 3, because I think of like liberty, being able to be free to make your own decisions, like not having people tell you what to do. But yeah, I dream that Africans will read and find out and check videos about and that kind of thing about libertarianism. Trying to get my brain into gear, sorry. But yeah, so Africans to learn about libertarianism, and I'd love to promote libertarianism, so for people to have as much freedom as possible, as much freedom of choice as possible, lowering taxes that could increase investment and things like that. But I hope they'll do it in a way which won't increase poverty though at the same time, by supporting each other. But yeah, I'd love to promote libertarianism across Africa. Excuse me. Number 4. I would love for people to network together and tackle violence and war, and Africans to say, let's put our differences aside, whether they're tribal or religious differences or whatever. I mean, I think Rwanda is it's like kind of almost Central Africa. I think that's in the centre. And I suppose Rwanda, I'd love for them to host events as well. But I think the name Central Africa and the fact that they've had division and they could put that aside to be a role model for the rest of Africa, I think would be really cool. But Rwanda's another place. I know I talked about them earlier this month. I think on my Facebook. Unfortunately, I didn't have my YouTube at that time. I think I can't remember, but I did make videos, and I hope there's some record of them somewhere, ideally. But yeah, I mentioned about how basically I hope the ideas are promoted, most importantly. But in my opinion, so they're quite important ideas, even if I do say so myself. But I'd love for Rwanda to be a role model for the rest of Africa. But symbolically, I'd love for all Central African countries, especially the Central African Republic, C.A.R, to promote unity, across Africa and be role models. Like, I mean, Rwanda is a good example, as I say, because they said you can't use tribal differences or whatever. But I think it'd be good if Central Africa said, well, let's put our religious and tribal and any other differences we have aside, and let's be role models for Africa and for ourselves, and let's say that we promote Pan-Africanism, doing what's best for Africa, and having even rival politicians talking about what's best for the country. So limiting conflict and confrontation. And one I often say for point number 4 as well, I know I'm preaching for a bit now, these certain numbers remind me of certain things, is that I discourage people, POC, people of colour, including black people, from joining militaries, Western militaries. And I think a military should be just there to defend you from attacks. So I disagree with invading other nations, but I think it'd be cool if, especially black people, let's say, supported Central Africa and Africa instead of joining militaries as well. It's another thing. Maybe I'd love for Central Africa to invite the rest of Africa, all of Africa together. So again, from the south all the way through to the middle, east, west, and also the north, east, and west, and basically the whole of the continent, all 54 countries having at least a few delegates, as many as they can fit, really, to have delegates from all possible countries within Africa, all 54 preferably, diplomats, politicians, entrepreneurs, and all sorts of different people who can promote their products and talk about what they can learn from each other, how they can support each other, and how they can work together to achieve things. I say, we are #stronger together, they can have each other's backs, and ensure their security and make Africa safe and secure, which will encourage tourism and therefore lead to more prosperity, I'm sure. And that's what I'd love to see, and anyone who wants to see Africa do well, I'm sure would want to see. But yeah, I'd love for them to invite all the 54 countries, and also as many citizens as possible from across Africa, and sometimes have Zoom chats if they can't fit a certain amount of people in, so they can discuss with each other all across Africa and share ideas, as I say, touch wood, God willing, and Godspeed, and all that good stuff. And yeah, promote peace, and hopefully that will lead to tourism and other forms of prosperity, building things rather than just destroying things, and building things together. And politicians talk about what they're going to do for their country rather than what they do for themselves, which I think happens too often, especially in Africa. And it happens well, but especially when you don't have systems that keep it in place. But saying, yeah, I'm going to provide PCs, laptops, teaching and training materials and equipment and all sorts of things to benefit my people and be proud to build the Africa many want to see, those who want to empower Africa. And sure there's something else I was going to say, sorry. But yeah, discouraging division and violence, and talking about what rival politicians are saying, like what we can do for Africa and putting our differences aside, whether those are political, religious, tribal, or whatever, and stop trying to get for power for ourselves and be corrupt, and instead do what's best for the country. It reminds me of a saying that I can't remember who it was, the president of America said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I suppose it's the same for Africa as a continent as well. What you can do for your continent. Please would be nice, I guess, to be fair. But anyway, on a more serious note, moving on to number 5, supporting African ambition and the ambition of individual Africans and also countries and the continent itself. As I say, I'd love to ask Africans, I don't know what I say, but I'd love to ask Africans, like, what is the Africa you would want to see? Do you want to see a violent one where homes are destroyed and all that kind of stuff? Or do you want to see a united, prosperous one that encourages tourism and investment and things like that, and becomes a place where people can come and visit and also encourage investment? And again, I think the black diaspora should support Africa instead of like joining Western militaries and things like that. Again, these are all my own personal opinions, which I often say in many videos, repeating from previous videos. But moving on, number 6, a biased and selfish one. I know I mentioned this a lot, town football can be quite racist, but I love to promote town football in Africa and Italy to work with Africa in terms of football. And I often say, like, I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan, but I'm a vegetarian. But killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. So I'd love that to benefit Italian football and maybe African football to an extent, but also so they can practice together and have deals like, for instance, to benefit Italian football, Africans could come and visit and play football in Italy and invite Italians to come to play football in Africa, hopefully as safely as possible. God willing and Godspeed, they'll be as safe as possible. I don't know if I should say this, but touch wood as well. But or maybe I should try to go more. I don't know. I do struggle to do that. But anyway, but yeah, hopefully as safely as possible, God willing and Godspeed, they'll go to parts of Africa and train, and they'll invite Africans to come to Italy and train. And also, they will be as safe as possible. So I hope that will benefit town football for getting to practice with Africans, and also the migrants who come, as well as tourists who come and play tournaments and things like that, and that kind of thing as well. There could be more migrants who come to Italy and help, just like it's benefited French football. I think Brazilian football has benefited from diversity and that kind of thing. So I think that would be pretty cool, and hopefully it'll benefit town football, and hopefully it'll benefit African countries as well. And town football can fundraise for Africa and say, we're going to help you in tech, and maybe Italians who are good at tech could help to teach in tech, and even those who are good in business can go and teach Africans in business. But as their economies grow, hopefully Africans will invest into and sponsor the town football as well. That's one thing I meant to say as well. I don't know if I mentioned that one. I forgot. But anyway, I remembered eventually. So the devil can't hold me out. Just kidding. Sorry. But yeah, so I dream that would benefit town football for investment, training, and having great players from Africa come to Italy. I mentioned in the past how I'd love for the migration policy in Italy to be those who come in legally, those who have a skill or talent for footy, those who are from the diaspora, and those who are from former colonies of Italy, like Eritrea, Tunisia, Ethiopia, and places like that. But yeah, so hopefully Italians will be less racist. I know I'm being very idealistic there, but as they killing two birds with one stone, or we've got to find a vegetarian version of that. But anyway, moving on, number 7, if they work together, many hands make light work. Hopefully they can achieve a lot of great things. I dream that Africans will make like robots, which they could sell and make money from, and hopefully will make life easier for themselves, but also for the rest of the world as well. Those robots like Robert the Robot, or whatever, Carl Robot, Clyde the Robot, and different robots that can do like our cleaning, tidying up, doing washing and cleaning dishes and clothes, ironing, doing gardening, or whatever else. So things that people might not want to do, especially people like me, lazy bums like me. So it will free us up to do things we do want to do. And hopefully by working together, as I say, many hands make light work, it'll be a lot easier for them. A religious quote there, even though I'm not that religious, but maybe Africans should say whichever religion will invest the most into and sponsor our projects and just generally support our continent the most is a religion we'll follow. We're not just going to blindly follow religion, so to speak. We want to show that religion supports us in their name, and God supports us in the name of that religion or whatever. Maybe that's something they can do. And also, I talk about Italian football and probably guessed it in some other videos. I'm going to say the same for Celtic as well. I dream that Celtic will do similar as Italian football. And some Celtic fans are racist, but I think most are quite anti-racist, and that's why I support them as a POC, as a person of colour myself, because of anti-imperialism, which I think POC should be. I don't think we should join militaries. I'd love for the people in POC in the West, including obviously black people as well as Asians, mixed race, Native Americans, Latinos, Hispanics, and maybe even many Jewish people, should, instead of joining a military, I think the ones who are in should try and leave. I think the ones who are thinking of joining, please don't. And in the future, hopefully people won't. And instead, I think we should support things like Central Africa and the rest of Africa and that kind of thing. It's not invade other nations, but help them with like teaching them about tech, learning about tech, so we can teach people in Africa, maybe learning about business and helping people in Africa and things like that. So instead of taking over people's nations, like apparently some companies want to do, like Blackstone or whatever they're called. I think it'd be quite fitting if like companies like BlackRock, Blackstone, Blackwater, I think that's what I'm thinking of. And companies like, sorry, not Blackstone, Blackwater, but even all those companies that have black in them to have more black representation, including people from Africa, but also Britain and America and all over the world. But yeah, moving on, to number 8. I say sorry because I do struggle to get to the point. Sorry, again, apologize again. Number 8, it'd be great to see what they could do. Again, I think one thing I was going to say is fighting together against white supremacy and loving each other instead of hating each other, and saying positive things about Africa. Africans to say positive things about their own countries, their own personal countries, and each other's countries and the continent as well, and trying to build a more positive, productive, peace-loving, peaceful, united Africa. And number 9, a big one. I love to try to jump into myself there. I love to support poets, artists, and writers from across Africa, and I hope they'll unite together politically and work on priorities and help Africans with their individual and countries and continents' ambitions and things like that. And number 10, I'd love to support young people. I said earlier, like, I can't stand the saying, I don't want to use the word hate, but I strongly dislike saying I'm older than you. And anyone who says that, I wish would be slightly ill. I know that's a bit off topic, but that's one thing I dislike about Asian and African culture, like having to respect your elders. I think, like, I think of one like, may your children treat you in old age how you treat them when they were young. May people who you are in positions of power against or with or of or whatever treat you how you treated them if they ever get into a position of power. And so called, may God treat you how you treat others, including especially those who are lower than you in society. And to be honest, I think like older people, like maybe this is going a bit far, but they've had their life, or they've had a lot of their opportunities in life, and life in life, and well, opportunities in and of life, or whatever. And young people, I think, should have opportunities. I love for young people to have opportunities that I had when I was growing up, especially those in Africa. And but I'd love to support younger people more and to enjoy life and whatever. And I think it'd be cool if people treat their parents and even their uncles and aunties and any other older people, any other elders, just like they would treat. Like if they hit you, then I think it's only fair to hit them back. Not that encourage violence, but then they shouldn't be violent in the first place if they don't want it. And if they put a shelter over you, I think you should put a shelter over them. If they steal your food or take food from you, I think you should do the same to them. And if they give you food, I think you should feed them back. Enough of me waffling. Please let me know what you think about Central Africa and Africa uniting together and Pan-Africanism and that kind of thing in the comments. Answer or anything else you want to comment. As ever, and I'm out. Peace and love.